How we doing, gamers? Welcome back to a fabulous new episode of the Birchlands. Today we're going to be taking a step back from the end because I'm still very, very traumatized by that, if you couldn't already tell. Today we're going to be doing some renovations, not just any kinds of renovations though. You see this land right here? It's very, very unused. It's sat unused for a very long time actually. Today we're going to use it. We're going to divvy it up into some animal enclosures here, and then we're going to load them all with animals and stuff. It's going to be great. They're definitely going to be smaller. I do know that we have animal enclosures right over there, but those are way too big. And what I've found is that it's a lot easier to harvest when the animal enclosure is very small. But not too small, of course. We do want to fit some mobs in there and everything. But this right over here, this is about 4 times as big as we need this pen to be right on over here. And the cow pen, this area was even worse at one point. It still is pretty bad. It's pretty big. It actually used to go out all the way over here, where this building is right here with our fabulous little surface nether portal in it. But that was no longer the case. I had to shrink it. Today we're completely doing away with it because it's too freaking large. And yeah, it's gonna be pretty developed over here, you know. It's been, for the longest time, I've really just been wanting to get rid of all this podzol right here. Literally the only thing I've been using this land for is tree farming, and it's all been off camera. So we're gonna have some animals here, we're gonna have some crops here, probably like right here we're gonna put like some wheat, and yeah, it should all be very, very nice. We'll have them all right outside our house like we should have had them for a very long time now, might I add. A very, very long time. So what we're gonna need to do this is we are going to need ourselves a clear inventory first of all, but also a lot, and I mean a lot, of cobblestone. Basically, we're going to be joining it up with the rabbit enclosure right down there. Speaking of which, how they doing? It's very crowded down there. We got to harvest that at some point after we get Sweeping Edge, which is something else we'll hopefully do this episode. I do believe there is an unemployed villager now in the village, just ready to go, ready to be trapped for life. But yeah, let's sort things out real quick. Where is the cobblestone? I do know we have a lot of it from our mine, from the outpost base. We've got 2 stacks right here. Got another stack, or 4, I should say. What's the difference, you know? We're gonna grab as much of this as we can, and we're also gonna need a stone cutter, because what we're gonna do to make sure this is all secure is we're gonna put slabs on top of it, so that way it's 1.5 blocks tall, and you can't just jump over it, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, we're also gonna need some wood, just not too much wood, but just a little bit wood, so that way we can make ourselves some gates, basically. We need to get in and out of these things. Now, where is the nearest stone cutter? Do we have one in here? No, we don't. But we do have some cooked pork chops ready to go. We'll take those, that's for sure. Kind of essential for life, but we do need a stone cutter now. What I believe we need for the stone cutter is we're going to need some smooth stone, which I know I have somewhere, and a little chunk of iron, a little iron ingot, similar to this right here. Yeah, just 3 smooth stones, and then that should all be set and everything. Just regular stone. Smooth stone, we have a few of that too, but that's not the proper stone for this stone cutter. You need a very specific stone. I could have sworn, like, at one point, and maybe it's like a snapshot version of 1.14, but you crafted the stone cutter with, like, granite, andesite, and or diorite. In place of like the stone. It was kind of weird. Maybe it's just like a blur in my memory or something, but that's how I remember it, kinda. Could be wrong, maybe. I don't really know. Alright, so I think we only have 1 stone available right now. That's kind of sad, so I'm just gonna throw some cobblestone on in there. That can smelt up and everything. We're gonna address this in a minute right here. I gotta get rid of this tree, but mainly we're gonna focus down here. Now, what we gotta do is we got a little bit of a hill right here, right next to our big old wheat field right here. It's pretty big. What we're gonna have to do is a little bit of terraforming at some point, because it's gonna be a little bit annoying having to go around all this stuff to get only just like right over there to our rabbit enclosure. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a road going through the middle right here, and this is gonna make it a little bit awkward to do so. So what I reckon we can do is we can put an animal pen like right next to here, and then we're gonna have to do a little bit of terraforming of the land right here. We're gonna have to bring the oak planks down, which we'll probably replace at some point. I don't like how this looks, but yeah, I guess we'll go from there. But I reckon we can start the pen like right here. This is where we can have one of our enclosures. I'm not really sure which one yet, but they're all gonna be about the same size. We're gonna have at least 3 in here. Potentially more, probably more actually, because we've got a lot of land here, and we're gonna need 3 because pigs, cows, and chickens, and sheep. 4, yes. Chickens are gonna have to wait. It's gonna have to be like a pit right here, because I've found that these guys, especially when like you crowd them up a whole bunch, they really like tend to slip out of the pen. I don't want a whole bunch of chickens running around on the loose. That would not be very organized at all. So, yeah, we're gonna have to wait on that. We probably won't do that this episode, but maybe sometime soon in the future. But anyways, this is gonna be a little bit awkward right here. But what can you really expect? It's a whole bunch of bumpy terrain that we haven't terraformed. So what we're gonna have to do at some point is we're gonna have to go through and level all of these as well and flatten them all out. And that's gonna require, or, you know, give us a lot of dirt. You never know, really. You really just gotta find like a good level to do it at. So that way you're not digging for too long and you're not filling in for too long. Just like an average level, but we'll get to that soon. For now, I reckon this little piece of land right here, this little strip, this is going to be our path right here. And it's gonna continue to hug the spruce planks right here. We are gonna need some slabs to, you know, make this accessible and everything. You don't wanna just manually jump. That doesn't look good and doesn't feel good either. We're also gonna have to fix this right here too, because this is incredibly awkward right here. We're gonna need some slabs for that. So there we go. That's officially the very first version of this path. We're gonna fix it up, of course. But now we gotta worry about the actual animal enclosures and everything. It's gonna be a little bit difficult and extremely awkward to have a gate that's sort of like on a hill right here. So what I reckon is we'll put the gate like right here. We gotta make sure there are cobblestone on both sides of it though. So what we'll do is we'll put it like right there, I reckon. And then, we should probably craft it up. I don't know what the heck we're gonna do here, because like we're probably gonna close off the thing like right here or so, and then it'll just touch the rabbit enclosure right there. I don't want a whole bunch of like little spaces in between. I want 100% of the land here to be used. That would be very nice. I don't want any podzol peeking out from between pens right here, so what I reckon we'll do is we'll just bring this wall all the way over here and then end it right there. So there it is. That's enclosure number 1 right there. And I reckon we might be able to bring it down, so I'm going to do a little bit of terraforming real quick to bring it down 1 layer. And then we're going to have to break all this podzol right on over here too. Although maybe it could be a little bit decorative. It's like in some small doses here, because grass, a whole bunch of grass without any like tall grass on top of it, that doesn't look good either. So I reckon we can just have like this little stripe of podzol going right on through here. We are going to need a grass block though. Let me get that real quick. What we're going to do is we're going to take this grass block and we're going to put that right there, smack in the middle, so that way it can spread. I'm also going to break some of the podzol right on over here so it can spread into this area nicely too. For our next enclosure, that is going to be just right next to this, and it's going to go like right on up here. And then we're going to have this other region right here, and this is going to basically be just a wheat farm right here, so that way we can actually feed the animals right here. Pretty convenient thing to do, really, especially if like you organize it. Like a certain section of wheat that you mark out is for a certain pen and everything. That's a great way to do it. I'm not really sure how many farms we're going to be able to have within this right here. Could maybe shove another one like right on over here, potentially, because there is a little bit of space for that, but I am worried about how steep this hill is right here too. That could be a little bit of a problem. Here's our stone. We're gonna craft it into the stone cutter right about now. There we go. We do have one in the village, but I don't feel like running over there and using it every single time I need it. We're just gonna slap it right in the house for now. And by for now, I mean potentially forever, most likely forever. I'm gonna see if we have any birch slabs lying around, and if we don't, we can just use some other wood to make slabs. Alright, so I found a few things. We found some birch slabs, probably enough to do this whole thing right here. They're not gonna be those slabs that line the top of the cobblestone. They are gonna be the slabs we put in the road to make sure you can actually walk up it like this right here, seamlessly. And my, the grass is really spreading. Holy frick, dude. Look at that. I did not think it would spread that fast. Look at that, it literally just spread it again. That's mind-blowing right there. I did not know it spreaded that fast, although the tick speed is a little bit upped in this world, but not too much. It's not like game-breaking or anything. But that is some incredible grass right there, that's for sure. I like that. And whilst spelunking around in my totally organized storage facility right there, I came across none other than a jungle fence. Beautiful. So that's something we don't have to craft anymore. Where are we gonna put this though? I reckon maybe to make this nice and accessible, we can actually put it like right here maybe? I don't know. We're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do, what boundaries we're gonna define here with all this. I reckon this is really coming together, so build it all the way up to here basically, and then join it with the rest down there. Now since this needs to be one level, we are gonna have a problem here with the animals being able to walk off this wall right here that I just fixed. So there we go, we gotta keep it 1 block high above the ground, so that wall is gonna be pulled up. Now right here, this little thing right here, this is gonna have to be leveled a ton right here, because we've got so much depth here. We've got a very steep slope here. Not very good. That's going to be a little bit of an inconvenience, but nothing to worry about, really. We'll just end it off right here, so that way we have this flat area right here that's going to be an absolute piece of cake to level. It's not going to take, like, any time at all, really. Now, we are really going to have to bring this land right down here, because this is where the gate is, so... yeah, I don't really want any hills here, basically because mobs, they can sometimes, you know, jump around and stuff, and that can sometimes lead them to escaping. Not very good. You want to keep it all at one level, ideally. It's not something like you absolutely have to do when making a farm, but it's probably something good, you know? Probably something beneficial. Alright, so it looks like we've uncovered some coal right here. Pretty big vein of it, not gonna lie. And another big vein right here. Very nice. But there we go, that's basically what it's going to look like for now. We're going to come through and replace all this with dirt and mine up all the coal at some point, but right now we just want a rough outline of, you know, where these pens are actually going to be. I reckon we can actually dig this one down a couple more layers. Nothing too crazy there, really. And I reckon that can become what will eventually be the chicken enclosure. Plan for that is we're going to have a little mechanism that creates the new chickens from the eggs they lay instead of just breeding them with seeds and everything. We're going to have like an automatic dispensing machine, and I reckon we can put that underground in a little room, maybe like right around there where I'm looking. I reckon that should be pretty good, but I don't know exactly how much space that's going to require. I have done it before. Sometimes it's a little bit of redstone, if, you know, can't be bothered to remember what I'm doing, so... yeah, we're going to want to enclose just a little bit of space. It's not a crazy big contraption, actually pretty small compared to most redstone contraptions, but still going to take up a little bit of space, and we're going to have limited space underground right there. Technically underground, not too far deep at all, really. Hopefully it doesn't interfere with whatever we put behind this wall. I would not like that at all. I'd like it to be at least a couple blocks below the surface, really. So, yeah, we might have to dig that down a little bit more later. Now, this big frickin' tree right here, what are we gonna do about this? We're gonna have to knock this down, and that's gonna be a real pain in the rear, because it is very, very thick. We've got, like, a lot, and I mean a lot of spruce wood right here. This is basically where all the charcoal comes from. It's this one little monstrosity right here. Pretty crazy stuff, and obviously we can't have it here with what's going on right here, so, yeah, I think it's time for this thing to go. Let me put my stuff away. Now what I think we can do, it's going to be a little bit bold, but I think we can actually go all the way to the top of that using water buckets, and we'll basically take out the wood from the top going down, instead of, you know, going up, which is possible. It's just a little bit annoying and stuff. It's also a lot more satisfying to take it down from the top, too, because, you know, you get to go on a little treasure hunt for the wood, and the, through the leaves, basically, with the hoe. There is a lot of wood up here right off the bat, so basically the farther we go down, the more wood there's gonna be to mine, and we're gonna have to mine every little bit of wood, so we're gonna flash through the top section right here pretty quickly, but it's gonna get slower and slower and slower until we eventually reach the bottom, and when we're done, we're gonna have several stacks of wood. Several stacks of wood that, to be honest, I'm not really sure what we're gonna do with, given the fact that we have completely filled a whole chest with nothing but coal and charcoal in the furnace area. Alright, and after a very long chopping session right here, this is how much wood we've got. As you can see, it really gives a whole bunch of wood. Yeah, and this is what's left of it. It took a very long time, and my pointer finger legitimately is kind of aching, actually, from doing that. So, yeah, I'm gonna try going to sleep now. There's this guy right on out here. Get out of here, you. You cannot come in even through my back door. So we've got 4 pens so far, one of which I said would be the chicken enclosure. That leaves one more thing we gotta do. And that is, make one more pen, and luckily we've got a perfect area for that. What is going on here? We've got a creeper, we've got a skeleton, and Yeah, I'm not going down there. I think I'm gonna stay safe here, you know? That's one problem with all this. It really contains a whole bunch of mobs and everything, and sometimes the mobs can hurt the animals, especially creepers and skeletons, when they see you and stuff. Not very good, but as long as we don't hang around here too much during the night, it should all be well and truly safe. Alright, now the tricky thing is where are we gonna put this stuff? I was thinking right here. It's a pretty convenient spot, but the problem is that we've also got this little thing right here. We've got a little bit of an increase in depth right here, a little bit of an increase in altitude, one block up. And I don't really feel like terraforming all this, although I suppose we could. We could do a whole bunch of like cobblestone slabs all around here. I think that would actually kind of look pretty nice, actually. So yeah, we just solved our own problem right there. Oh boy, there's a little bit of stone underneath there, though. That's gonna be a little bit of an inconvenience. We gotta mine that stuff out. We'll put a whole bunch of stone slabs bordering this farm right here, and then we can run the farm going all the way down to the storage facility right there. And then we can have paths going across, that way you can easily access all this right here. And then it'll all be good and everything. And the paths will divide the farm, so we can dedicate one farm to each pen right here. So we'll have, I reckon, beetroot, and then 2 wheat farms. Beetroot for the pigs, wheat for the cows and the sheep. So nothing really to worry about. Kind of overthinking right now. It's getting a little bit hot in my bedroom. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. We'll put these slabs in place right here, and that'll basically be like the border for this farm right here. It's not going to be anything too crazy. And we also got to do this right on over here. So what I reckon we'll do is that it is going to be a little bit big, so I reckon we can put the cows in here, and then the sheep can go right here, and then the pigs down there. And yeah, it should hopefully all be sorted. So we'll do a little something like this right here. We'll have the path maybe go like right here. That'll give a good amount of space for the 2 wheat farms and everything. You really want to divide up this terrain right here evenly. And I'm actually looking at this right now. That might actually be a little bit challenging. So what I reckon we'll do, we'll just go right on in through here. The first path is definitely going to be here, but do we want a second path going to the sheep farm? Like, do we just want to use this right here? You know, we can do that. We can put a gate right here, and that should be pretty accessible. Maybe 2 gates would be alright, too. Like, that would be beneficial. We can enter from this side. That'll be easy. We can enter from the other side. That'll also be pretty easy. But if we do put a path here, it's going to leave this small little glob of space right here for farms, and that is going to be nowhere near even, which is going to be a huge oof. Really don't want that. We really want some even farms here. So yeah, so it looks like we're going to have to put, we'll just have to leave it as it is right now. We'll only use that 1 gate right there, even though we've got a perfect space for one right here. And then we'll have this farm be right here. Yep, that's what we'll have to do. And it appears I am going to have to dig up all of this podzol right here if I want to till it, because you can't till podzol, which is going to be a little bit annoying. Which is kind of why we want to get rid of all this podzol, to be honest, because there's nothing really you can do with it. Alright, and there we go. That's the first farm put in. Now we gotta do the second one. And I reckon this will be the beetroot one right here. And there we go. That's also all done. And now it's time to do a whole bunch of stone cutting, because we need slabs, and that's kind of why we crafted this stone cutter. It's pretty useful for making them. Don't want to burn a whole bunch of stone trying to make slabs in a crafting table, that's for sure. Especially for something like this where we need so many. It is really starting to come together, as you can see. It doesn't look like a whole bunch of lines of cobblestone. It looks like a whole bunch of elevated lines of cobblestone by half a block. So yeah, really good stuff we got going on here. What we're going to do next is we're going to bring all the walls down. We are missing a gate right there, but I did say this would be the chicken enclosure, so that's not really too much of a big deal for now. We're also going to grab this coal. I like coal. I love mining coal. It's very fun, especially when it comes in huge veins like this. I don't know what it is with this world, but there's just huge coal veins like everywhere. It's crazy. And it gives us a lot of coal, which we're going to use to trade to the villagers. We're not actually going to use this for its intended purpose. Because we've got this thing in Minecraft called charcoal. It's pretty renewable. But anyways, yeah. Let's get on with this real quick. We've got to be very careful to not break the paths, or really anything else. It's a pretty delicate situation we're in. But when you do it right, you get a little something like this right here. As you can see, it doesn't look nearly as dirty as this and hideous. Really polishes off the build here. Makes it look nice. From mining those 2 coal veins, we got nearly 64 coal right there. That's pretty crazy with the looting or the not the unbreaking, the fortune. Jeez, I need to get my enchantment straight. Yes, the fortune. Beautiful enchantment. I think that might be, potentially, I'm looking around here, everything. So predominantly in the areas where the hill was, which is like here and here. Yeah, nothing much we really gotta do here, except removing all this podzol. This is gonna be the sheep pen right here, and I'm 99% sure the sheep cannot eat the podzol. So yeah, gotta get rid of that. And these 2 blocks right there. And now, the wall is truly complete. After like a good minute, that's for sure. Now we are gonna need a grass block, so I'll have to get that in just a couple minutes. And there we go. Now all we gotta do is wait a couple seconds for that to spread everywhere, you know? That's just typical Minecraft grass behavior for you right there. But now, do we want to do this one right here? Personally, the podzol doesn't look very good, so yes, we are doing this. We're mining up all this dirt right here only to replace it. Very productive use of my time. And there we go, right there. That is officially all finished. We got 2 blocks of podzol right back here that I don't really care enough to remove. You know, it is helpful having like some podzol in the ground. You know, I did it over there too. I think that'll be alright, you know. It's not that big of a deal, but when the whole ground is podzol, it really just messes with your senses, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, that is all set. We do have some other things we gotta do, such as, you know, actually putting a gate right here. And down there at some point, if we just so happen, yeah. You know what, I'll just make another gate. I'm gonna craft some stairs up real quick, just 1 block. We're gonna delete part of that cobblestone right there, I guess. We're gonna go put that right near where the pig pen entrance is, because that is actually 1 layer below the gate right here. So, we do a little something like that, and there's no longer this awkward space right below the gate, and it looks great. Also, this is not the pig pen. This is probably gonna be the cow pen. I'm doing this video in 2 recordings here. This is the second recording, hopefully the only second recording, you know. Don't want to have 3 parts to this video at all, but had to take a break midway, so if I remember correctly, this is the sheep pen, this is the pig pen, and that's going to be the cow pen right down there. And then that's going to be the chicken one, obviously. One thing we also got to do is we got to add the actual seeds here. Now, luckily, I've got some wheat seeds right here, but more so, there sure are a lot of wheat seeds down there. Beetroot too, even. We're going to go grab some of those. And my, we have some visitors over there. That's not good. Got some pillagers. Hopefully those guys, you know, keep their eyes off me. You know, it's kind of rude to stare at me like that, not gonna lie. Yeah, they just showed up. They're just magically in the pen right there. I think that's a great time, you know, to take a nap, you know. Do we have any jungle planks lying around? We do have some jungle logs, so I guess I'll just have to settle for that. We gotta craft up some gates. And then some chests, too. Basically, what's gonna happen with these is we're gonna have chests in the pens, and that's gonna basically have, like, all the food we need to give to the animals, basically. So it keeps it nice and organized. Kind of similar to what we did over there a while back. Now, it looks like I am going to need to go get some milk, because those guys, they have not screwed off just yet. So I'm going to get that. And unfortunately, there are no ominous bottles in this version of Minecraft, so once I kill the bannerhead right there, I've got the bad omen, and we got a village right here. Hopefully, like, it won't trigger a raid. If I'm, like, all the way over here, I don't see why it would. It is a little ways off. But we're gonna chug the milk just to get rid of it and everything. And that will be all set. We can chug this, and we're all set. Beautiful. And I reckon that might be, right down there, the last gate we'll have to place here. Now we gotta make ourselves some chests. Nothing too crazy, really, you know. Just gonna require a little bit of wood, which we've got right here. Now that the chests are in, it's officially time to bring in the most important part of this area, the animals themselves. We're going to try to get as many of them into these enclosures as we can, but some are going to have to be put down, unfortunately, because I highly doubt we'll be able to get each and every single one of them in here, just by leading them with, like, wheat and stuff. Now, luckily, we don't have any pigs yet in the world, at least no pigs that I know about, so we're just going to have to be luring in some cows and some sheep, which luckily we've got right here. Hopefully this goes according to plan. It is going to be a little bit of a tight squeeze right there, but I suppose we can widen the gap. Come to me, sheep. Come on over. Just keep following me, you know? Just do your thing. Might have to leave a good portion of you right here. But anyways, we can officially break down this wall and lead an entire crowd of sheep down the street right here. It's going to look very normal. It's going to be fun trying to get them into the pen, though, because I'm not going to be able to break the wall there. I need them to be secure once they're in. Alright, come on in. and they appear to be walking over the wall, so we should probably fix that, but that'll definitely help them come in and whatnot, so not too much of a priority, at least right now, but we're gonna fix that once they're all in here, or at least most of them get in here. They're getting a little bit hung up by the gate right there, so it appears that we're gonna need to put some of these guys down, unfortunately. Huge oof right there. I've got a lot of random sheep walking around now. Probably even more down here. I'm just gonna close this off right now. But before I do so, let's check the chest here. We're gonna take all the wheat out, and we're gonna move it on over to that other chest. And there we go. They're already munching at the grass. You'd love to see that. We're gonna put down some of these wheat seeds right here. And I reckon this farm will slowly grow itself over time. Especially after we harvest this monstrosity right on over here that I never harvest because it's so freaking big. Probably going to be easy to harvest that when we have like shulker boxes on us. That would probably be helpful. But now it is time for a creeper to ambush us right there. Jeez, that was a very close call, man. Oh man, alright, so we'll just put that in there. We're going to pretend nothing ever happened, you know. It was a pretty chill day, you know, just leading animals around the base. But let's get some more wheat from the cow pen and move them on over here. And then as what we're gonna do with this land right here, I really have no idea. Probably put maybe some buildings here potentially. I don't really know what kind though. Maybe some automatic farms at some point in the future, or like a bamboo thing, but bamboo isn't all that valuable in this version of Minecraft. It's not like we can craft the whole bamboo wood set, but I'm sure we'll find a way to put it to good use. But anyways, we're gonna have this whole crowd of cows right here follow me. I'm gonna slap that into my offhand real quick. Hopefully none of the sheep get distracted, you know. I don't want any of them mixing with the cows, because that's gonna be fun, because I gotta keep everything organized. But anyways, you guys can follow me, and you can go away. Right this way, gentlemen and ladies, you know, nothing too sketchy here to worry about, you know, just some animal movement, you know, getting you into a better home. It's a new home, it's an upgrade, I promise. It's gonna be a little awkward getting them in there. Typically, I don't move around the animal pens, but since this world is like so old and like more so this base, I guess, we've done some renovations around here. I've grown, I've learned from myself and everything. So yeah, we've had to move large crowds of animals around because I've made better enclosures for them, you know, in this episode. Hopefully this will make it easier to make more emeralds off of butchers and stuff. We're gonna have a couple more butchers in the village at some point, hopefully soon, ideally soon, you know. So that way we can harvest all these guys, get all their goods and stuff, and then trade it off for loads and loads of emeralds. And you have got to be kidding me. I hear pillagers again, and if they're where I think they are, we're going to have to do a lot of replanting of melons. Or pumpkins, because, you know... Okay, good. Good, they're not up here. They appear to be on the roof. Got more goons here. Get out of here. I don't know what the heck I did to deserve all this, but... That's 2 patrols in the span of how many minutes now? Thank goodness there's a cow right here. But I did not want them to spawn on the 2nd floor of this building right here, because then they'd like walk over the pumpkins and everything, and they'd fall down and break the stuff. And then we're going to have to go through the trouble of bone mealing it to get it back, because I don't believe there's much sunlight in here. They need that to grow. But good to see that that wasn't the case, that's for sure. Anyways, we got some cows in here mixing with our sheep. We're gonna have to fix that. Come on, we need organization around here, you know? Now, for our pig pen, we don't have any pigs, at least that I know about here in the overworld that I've said. We're gonna slide some beetroot in here. That's what we're gonna use to breed them, not carrots, because I need carrots for the rabbits. But anyways, I don't see any pigs around here. Pigs could spawn, though, in theory. I'm just gonna take a quick look around to see if we've got any, you know, roaming about. And if there's none around here, we'll probably get pigs from the desert nether, because I do know that they can spawn in savanna biomes too. So far, it is looking pretty blank right now. Yeah, and after searching the forest, it appears that, at least in there, we are completely dry in terms of pigs, but I am going to check this field right here too. Even though that's kind of hard to do, you know, darkness and whatnot. We do sure have a lot of iron golems, that's for sure, but no pigs to be seen, so no big deal really. We're probably going to want to get our hands on pigs at some point, because, you know, pork chops, you can really sell those to level up butchers, especially on the 1st level and whatnot, so that's probably going to be something we do, hopefully soon. I do know there's some other things I gotta do, like, you know, building the bubble column, and our little shaft, our little non-mysterious house in the middle of the desert nether that has a stronghold below it, and the sweeping edge enchantment too. We're going to have to do that, so until then, Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like what you saw, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Join my Discord, link in the description. I will see you later. Probably with a lot, and I mean a lot, of goods from these new farms right here. Beautiful stuff.